What if the most powerful way to move forward is about reaching back?
Vintage is exploding right now. From Gen Z thrifters to all ages, seasoned collectors are now out there. But, it's not just a trend, Nancy, because I think there's something deeper.
You bet. Welcome back to Deep Diving Divas. I'm Nancy Fox, and we're so happy you're joining us today.
And I'm Elaine Duran. Today, we're diving into a world where stories are stitched into seams. History hangs on a rack, and treasure hunting is a lifestyle. Vintage is having a serious moment right now.
Yep, it sure is. From Gen Z thrifters to longtime collectors, people are searching for those pieces that just come with history, not just the price tag.
But vintage isn't just about fashion or furniture. It's about sustainability. It's about nostalgia. And sometimes it's about discovering treasures hiding in plain sight.
I know, that's what I love. Our guest today knows all about reinvention and purpose and finding beauty in what others overlook. She's Lori Hartwell, and she's also the heart and the vision behind Studio Hope Boutique, a vintage, artisan, and curated thrift boutique where every item not only has a past, every purchase helps to fund hope.
But get this, she is also the founder and president of the Renal Support Network. It is a nationally recognized nonprofit empowering people living with kidney disease. And she also has founded a local pet rescue. Amazing woman.
I mean, one busy, busy woman. So I'm particularly excited for this episode, Elaine and everyone. Let's dive in with Lori.
Hey there, friends, it's Nancy and Elaine. They're the Deep Diving Divas, it's quite a name. They're diving deep into the things that matter most, from friendships to family and so much more. Join them each week for a splash of fun.
Lori, welcome to Deep Diving Divas. We're really excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
Lori, I met you briefly, but it made a big impact when I came into your store. I had some very special items from my parents that were vintage, or I believe them to be vintage, and you were recommended by so many people in the neighborhood. And once we started talking, I thought, this is an amazing woman on so many levels. And I thought, you will be great for Deep Diving Divas. So thank you for coming on and joining us. Can't wait to hear what you have to say and what your store is all about.
Yeah, it's been such a great experience meeting so many different people from the community. And, they share treasures with us. And I like to preserve treasures and give them a second chance.
I love that. And so, Lori, we're figuring, let's start here. Why is vintage actually exploding these days? And why do you see thrifting? You kind of see it everywhere. Resale platforms are booming and younger generations are really embracing it. So why do you think it's having a big moment right now?
Well, I think you said that, the younger generations are really driving this. They're very much more self-conscious about how things are made. They want fibers that are natural. They like the idea of having stuff that's made in the USA. It's very interesting to me. And, there's a term out there called fast fashion. And the kids come in all the time. And now, I'm learning that fast fashion. And, fast fashion really refers to the big box stores and how they mass produce stuff and get everybody to wear it. And they want to be unique and have their own style. And if you go thrifting or, looking for vintage items, you're one of a kind.
That's the best thing. There's no better way to describe your store than to really take us on a tour. And I know we're going to look at some footage. So, Lori, tell us a little bit, if you can describe in so many words, what your store looks like visually, and then we can see it on the clip.
It really came from when, I would go out thrifting in vintage and what I looked for. when you walk in the store, it's got beautiful windows that bring light in. And so we have a kitchen area and colored glass along the windows because I love colored glass. I think it's so pretty when it's sitting next to a window. And then you move along and you see different types of furniture. We have a piano in the store because I like to have live music here and there. And I love pictures. I love art. So you're going to see so many different pieces of art that are hanging on the wall. And I mean, from oil paintings to watercolors to, soft pastels. I appreciate artisans. And then when you move through the store to one section, there's all kinds of clothes. And we have it all organized where you can go to your size and find it. And then we have shoes. And most importantly, we just have fun items. If it's fun, we're going to put it out because it has a story to tell if it's fun. And then of course we have some other items like we have amazing jewelry and amazing brooches. We are known for our brooches. And then of course I like to make jewelry and I like to paint. So there'll be a little section of mine there. I'm kind of a bead snob, so it may not be thrifting, but it still captures the essence of what it's like to hand make something.
Well, it's interesting. You just caught me on many different levels. Number one, I love thrifting and vintage because, like the young people, I don't like to see myself coming and going. Here today, I'm just wearing a black shirt, but in general, I treasure older pieces, older sweaters. I love Missoni and the vintage Missoni. And so the reason why is because it is so unique. Hey, anybody can go into your local store like everybody else does, the herd, but I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to look like everybody else. So I love that with clothing. I love it with jewelry. And I know, Elena, you do too.
Let me ask you, you said something interesting, Laura. You said that there's a story behind so many of these things. Do you ever share those stories with the people that are buying them? I mean, is it posted up? Is there a little kind of description or what are some of the stories you're saying come with them?
All the time. I mean, we have some amazing art. And I got to meet this gentleman named Charles, and he's 91, 92. But frankly, I think he was a Casanova his whole life because he had a lot of girlfriends that were artists, and he outlived them. And he has a lot of their art, and he collected art. And he tells me about every single piece that I buy at a lower price from him because he needs the money. And it's so funny because I feel like I know all the artists. And so one name is Chigusu, and she's a watercolor artist. I love her art. So I'll tell the story, and he'll say how they went to Joshua Tree because we don't often see a lot of paintings of the desert and different aspects. And I just really appreciate that he told me that. And they went on those trips and she painted for him. So that's a really fun story because I think there's a lot of love behind the painting.
A real love, right.
I know. I'm just thinking about things like shoes. I mean, I think shoes are fascinating. Like, whose footsteps are you walking in? And so if you ever kind of know what the story is, or do you have things in the store that did belong to celebrities?
Oh, yeah. I always try to keep their anonymity because there was a very famous celebrity in my book that passed away, and her husband donated most of her stuff. And it was actually very special to me because I grew up with this person. She inspired me. And so, if I know somebody personally, I'll tell them. But I really want to respect their anonymity as well for donating stuff. So it's a fine line. And, it's just using that judgment because I think it was special to them. And I could share that story personally, but we don't do that online.
That makes sense. Okay, so Lori, before we go any further, we actually need you to settle something. How old does something actually have to be considered vintage versus antique?
Well, you're not going to believe this, but 20 years.
Huh.
So,
Oh.
20 years is yesterday to me.
Right.
So,
To all of us.
that's
You might be
2005 is vintage. Y2K is old.
Yeah.
That's what, and so that's what, is really interesting, that I think of vintage like 70s, 80s. And
Yes.
so, but it can be anything before 2005. And so it's really hard to kind of understand exactly when something is vintage. There's no way to really authenticate it. But I think you have to have a feeling from the item. I always like, what does it make me feel? And I can tell the difference in material, because we just made better material, less plastic, and different things today. Not saying that plastic is bad in material, because if you're going to make something, we should use the plastic that's floating around in the ocean.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the vintage part really depends on when you were born. Because you're right. Because to us, vintage, might be the 40s. For kids today, the 40, that would be like, that is like old, or that is from another. It just depends on your birth date. What you consider to be vintage. So
Exactly.
interesting.
I have clothes in my closet that are vintage. I don't consider them vintage.
Right.
I consider them classics.
What kind of tips do you, I mean, for those people who have, who love the idea of vintage, but they don't even know where to start? They one day were with their friends and they go, let's go to this vintage store. And that's like, well, I don't even know what I'm looking for or what to do. Do you have some kind of tips on shopping vintage? What should they look for?
Well, I think what I would suggest, I mean, I'm not a typical, vintage shopper, but I like to pick things up and see how it makes me feel and look for the craftsmanship. Like, you could pick up a brooch and tell if it was put together by hand, or if it was a mold, or if the stones were set. There's different things you can learn on jewelry, on clothes. I think one thing that's important about vintage is about creating your own style. And so you have to really come up with what you feel good in. I mean, I like stuff on a picture, but it doesn't look good on me. So you need to figure out, what you like. And there's a million people around that will help you with that. And we have people that are really wonderful in the store about putting clothes together. So, we'll help you find your style and try things that you never would try, because it looks different on the hanger than it does on your body.
That's a good point. Okay,
Yeah.
so but as people, yeah, if they go into your store versus a thrift store, typical one, what's the difference between vintage and something that's just plain old?
Well, I think vintage is anything over 20 years old. So it's in the eye of
It
the
is old.
beholder.
Right.
It's in the eye of the beholder. But there does seem to be a movement. And what I don't understand is there's a lot of people thrifting who are going around on videos and said, go through the store and look for the ugly old stuff and get that, because that's probably gonna be, worth something. And then they show that they look it up and it is. I'm a big believer. I mean, I don't think that's right. I think you buy what you love and you get what you love. And if you are a new entrepreneur out there who's trying to sell stuff you don't like, I'm not an expert, but I don't think you're going to be very successful. And I think that it's important for people to remember that. It's not like, we're competing to have the most vintage stuff in our garage, because I probably would win. But no, my friend would win. No, maybe you would win. I don't know. We all could be winners in that. But I think it's about what you love and what you want to research and share the story about. That's what I find unique.
So, Lori, let me ask you a question. I mean, I think all of us are so conscious about sustainability and the environment. What's the connection with your store or vintage in general with sustainability in our world?
Well, it's everything, because of the fact that if you reuse things, you're not contributing to the pollution that's happening all over the world. And we have so many people who come in our store because of that reason. They want to buy secondhand or something that was pre-loved. And I think I'm a little bit predisposed to this subject because my husband worked in recycling for the city of Glendale for years. And I often joke with him because I have a kidney transplant, and that's the ultimate recycling. So
Ah,
we are just, someone who really thinks about, how do we make this world a little bit better without polluting so much. It's hard because there's so many convenient ways to get stuff, but you walk in a thrift store and you might just find what you want.
can I just ask you quickly, and we can cut this, but can you tell by the fabric if it's something that is recyclable, or that not recyclable, but that could be decompose, as opposed to a piece of fabric that it's never ever, it's going to be there for 1,000 years if you
Well,
looked at
I
it?
think natural fibers are the fibers that decompose. I mean, as we know, plastic doesn't decompose. It just stays forever.
Or
And
polyester.
there's so many thrifters right now that are taking those clothes and making new clothes out of them because it's amazing. I mean, they make things out of plastic bags from your grocery store and dye them. And I mean, there's a lot of creativity coming out of how to reuse things. And I think that's really exciting.
Well, I think with what you just said now, and you're conscientious part of the community in the world, let's pivot a little bit, because your store is very special. Tell us how you have two nonprofits, which you'll tell us about. How are these two nonprofits that you founded? How are they part of your store concept?
Well, I created a kidney organization called Renal Support Network in 1993 because I myself had kidney failure when I was 2 years old. And I've lived with it my whole life. I've had 4 transplants. I spent 13 years on dialysis. And I'm one of those people who like to help my peers. And I wanted them to have hope and learn about their illness so they could survive and thrive like I have. And that's just been an incredible journey. I can't even believe 1993. I feel so old, but that's a gift. That's a gift when you get old. And then my husband and I love dogs, and I had a little black poodle named Peppy when I was on dialysis from age 12 to 24. And if I didn't have that little black dog, I don't think I would be here. So I wanted to use my nonprofit skills to help other animals. So we opened Paws for Hope. Then finally, coming off of COVID, I realized I missed my community. Where was it? We were all behind a screen, or we didn't see people, or we had to make plans like 3 weeks in advance to go see them. And I love the spontaneity of conversations. So I decided, you know what? I've always wanted to open a store. Why not? Why not a thrift store, a curated thrift store? And I can invite all my community and see them again, and then tell them about the causes I love, and also help them recycle and reuse things and build a community. So Studio Hope is a community. It's not just a thrift store. And we have people come in every week just to say hi and just kind of decompress after the end of the day, because it's an open and airy store. And it's also handicap accessible because I have some mobility issues. And I wanted it to be, very fresh and inviting and inspire creativity among others, because that's what all these treasures in the store do. You can't walk in the store without feeling creative. I guarantee you.
Well, the energy level must be so high there from all of the lives and all the people that it's touched. And I know you do this Friday night events that you do. If you just want to tell us quickly about that, and then we'll move on.
Well, we do Friday night, ladies' night, every third Friday of the month. And I just have to share this story because 2 months ago, a woman walked in to get a popcorn pop. And she walked in, and we had Robin, who's playing the piano. She's wonderful. And she's just came in and started singing with Robin. We were at like a Broadway concert singing, Killing Me Softly. and Robin hired D'Amica.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, and so, you know, it's the connections that make you successful. It's networking, getting out of your house and meeting people is what makes people successful. And I think that's something the newer generation has to learn. It's not it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And
And the
this is a place.
connections.
It's connections and meeting
Yes.
people and sharing your story. So that's why I'm sharing mine. So in hopes I will inspire other people to share their story.
Lori, that's so beautiful. And what I love is that Studio Hope isn't just about the shopping. You've clearly made that, it's community, it's connection. And actually, you've also shared, but share it with everybody else. Every purchase helps support all these, causes that you put together.
Yes, it's 100% nonprofit.
Oh
So
my
so
goodness.
the thrift store, yes, it's something that, it's
Wow.
100% nonprofit, and Renal Support Network, the kidney organization, is the founder of this initiative. And so Pause for Hope makes a percentage of that. And it just works out. I don't want to start another business. So this is more like a program of my kidney organization, because kidney disease isn't very sexy and people need to learn about it because trust me, you don't want it. So we silently educate people in the store. In fact, this last month, we gave people 25% off if they gave me 25 seconds of their time. So I could bribe them to learn about important kidneys work.
Lori, we're going to have to stop. So, how can people find your store or your website?
Well, our store is in Burbank at 817 North Hollywood Way, on the way to the airport. And you can also go to our website, studiohopestore.org, or follow us on social media, Studio Hope Burbank.
That's great. Thank you, Lori, so much. You are a gift for all of us.
Thank you, Lori. We're going to close with the message that Lori gave us that we hope resonates with all of you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you all. Lori, can you tell us the motto that you live by that is so impressive?
I think you have to hang out with the winners and people who support you, because there's a lot of dream stealers out there and they'll tell you why you can't do something. So hang out with the people who believe in you.
I love that.